Hi guys, in the last video we did our first calculations in Excel, and for instance here with revenue we had hours time hourly rate, and for profits we had revenue minus costs. Exactly. Now comes the question, which is basically, what do I do if everybody has got the same hourly rate? Okay, let's say, for the sake of argument, I'm going to put it here. Everybody has the same hourly rate of 50. How do I calculate? What do I do now? Well, there are multiple options. First option is I go in hourly rate, put in 50, and the way to give everybody that same 50 is you click in there where the 50 is, and then same as with the formulas, you go to the lower left corner and you autofill downwards, and so everybody gets the 50, the hourly rate 50. And that's the way you can basically autofill downwards or upwards, whatever, give everybody the same value. Basically is you type in the value and then go to the lower left corner and drag it down. Right. So that's one way of doing things. Now the problem with that is that I'm wasting a whole column, or I have basically a whole column basically containing the same value. So is there a way to avoid having that column? Well, yeah. Well, let's delete that column first. Let's get rid of it. Let's build our formula in a different way, or let's calculate in a different way. Okay, let me delete that column. The way you delete columns, I mentioned that already. You just select the column and then you go to delete and either select delete cells or delete sheet column. It doesn't matter here because we already selected the column to be deleted, so you can just say delete cells and bang, it's gone. Now you see you got something like ref here in the formulas. That happens when you delete something, and you see here the formula used to be B2 times C2, but now that C2 column, that old C2 column got deleted, and instead of that we have here ref. But it doesn't matter because we're going to rewrite the formula anyway, so what we can do is just select the whole thing here and just press the delete button on our keyboard and it's gone. Right. So a second way to write a formula where everybody's got the same hourly rate is basically like this: equals B2 times 50. Okay, and then autofill downwards. Very correct, yet totally incorrect. The problem with this formula is it gives you the right value, the right revenue, but the problem is, what if the hourly rate changes? Let's say it becomes 55 or 45 or whatever. Then you would have to go into that formula and update that value and again autofill it downwards to have it apply to the remaining people. Now in our case with 7 people and 1 table, that's not a big deal. But often in Excel you would have multiple calculations in multiple tables with hundreds of rows, all dependent on that one value, i.e. hourly rate. And if that hourly rate changes and you have it here as a value in your formula, you would have to update all your formulas, and you have to also to remember, wait a minute, which formulas have that thing, that hourly rate, and which don't. So it's quite a big hassle. Why go through it? That's why I always say avoid having values in your formulas. Now the third way to do it is basically like this: equals, or basically, let me escape first. The third way of doing it is basically you put your hourly rate somewhere in that table, let's say here, and you use this cell reference in your formula. Yeah, and the way we're going to do it is like this: equal here times here. Okay, and then I press return and I autofill. Now I got a problem here. What is my problem? Let's look at the formula closely. The first formula seems to be correct. It is B2 times M2. So that's all right. Now let's go to the next formula. It is now B3. So that's that's where this guy's hourly hours are, so that's right, times M3, but M3 is empty because all our hourly, or the hourly rate is exclusively in M2. There's nothing here, there's 0, that's why we're getting zeros. Let's go to the next one, same story. It is B4, that's where this guy's hours are, and M4, but in M4 there's nothing. So basically you see, by autofilling, the B cells, they change accordingly, and that's what we want. But the M cells are also changing, and that's what we don't want. They should all those M cells should all point to M2 and not change when autofilling. Now how can I avoid having the M2 change when autofilling? And this is where we use what is called absolute cell references. It's a pretty complicated name, but basically what it means is, I'll show you. Let me just delete the formula completely. And you go like this. Equal hours times hourly rate. Now, that hourly rate is valid for everybody, so it shouldn't change. And all cell references which are valid for everybody, after clicking on that cell, you press the F4 button on your keyboard. And once you press the F4 button, you get dollar signs in front of the column name and in front of the row name. And those dollar signs signify that this cell reference will not change when autofilling. Okay? Let me repeat that again, that formula. Okay? So basically I go like this, equal, same as before, hours. Are those hours valid for everybody? No, they're just valid for Brown, so they just stay the way they are, times the hourly rate. Is that hourly rate valid for everybody? Yes, it is. So I press the F4 key and I get those dollar signs. So that means when autofilling, this will change into B3, B4, whatever, but this will stay at M2. Okay, let's try it out. Let's autofill. Click back in here. Go to lower left corner, lower right corner, sorry, and autofill, and bang. And let's see the formula now closely. B2 times M2. Okay, that's right. B3, you see the B2 became a B3. Well, that's the whole point of the exercise, because this guy's hours are actually in B3, but the hourly rate is still in M2. Okay, again, one down. B4, yes, but still M2. You see, with those dollar signs, what they do, they stop the cell from changing when autofilling. And that is that those cells with dollar signs are called absolute cell references. Those don't change when autofilling. Whereas those here without the dollar signs are called relative cell references, and those change when you autofill. Okay, that's the whole difference. Let's try it out again with costs. Let's say everybody's got the same costs, and those costs are, let's say, 560. Okay, so actually I don't need this column anymore because everybody got the same cost. So again, I select that column, go and delete, and I'm got it now. And I just delete this old profits formula. Now, how are my profits calculated? Well, profits, like before, they're revenue minus costs. Okay, equals revenue. Is that revenue valid for everybody? No, because this is just Brown's revenue. So minus costs. Are those costs valid for everybody? Yes, they are. So F4. And then that's it. Return. Click in again, lower right corner, and autofill. And you see here, same scenario as before. The C cell references, they change, C2, C3, etc. But the L cells do not change. They stay at L3. Okay? And that's what you do. When you have certain values which are valid for everybody, you put them off somewhere in your table and use those cell references. However, do not forget to turn those cell references into absolute cell references by pressing the F4 key after clicking on those cells. Just I'm going to so if I redo revenue, basically equals hours times the hourly rate. Now always think is this hourly rate valid for everybody? Yes. Then press F4. Bang. And you got it. And then you can autofill just the way you do a normal formula. And yeah, that's about that's how you calculate with values which are valid for everybody. Don't put the values in the formula, put them in a cell and use those cell references.